Parts of Africa, we have got languages which belong to no tribe, to no ethnicity, like Swahili. Swahili is a non-ethnic language.
In Africa, we have got a language that belongs to nobody, and that is the language of Swahili. And it was invented by our ancestors. And it is not the only language that was invented by our ancestors. If you go to the Caribbean, we have the Patois language as well. It tells you that we are masters of invention. So yes, this was the president of Uganda, President Museveni, and then I think the president has been listening to One African Mission, because everything that the president is talking about here, we have said it in One African Mission. Everything that he's talking about, we have said it here in One African Mission. So I think the president is a fan. He's a follower of One African Mission, because he has spoken our minds. And that is the reason why we are here as missionaries. Anyway, first of all, please, this is your brother, Brother Dubia Anzansi. Thank you for joining our mission. Thank you for coming around. Please, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and also following us on Facebook, One African Mission. We are missionaries. We are on a mission, and our mission is to bring back the dignity of the African race. How do we get back our dignity as children of Africa? Is by uniting the continent of Africa, because we believe that without unity, there is no way we can ever have our dignity as children of Africa. So please support our mission, join our mission. The only way, as I keep saying, you can support us is by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and also sharing what we are doing. If you appreciate what we are doing, please share it, because we've been told that if you share it, the more you share it, the more YouTube will open it up for other people to see. So please, if you appreciate what we are doing, please then subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also share it for other people to see. I thank you very much for coming around. Please, I want us to go back and watch the full video, because it is really interesting. What the president is saying is very, very interesting, and is very relevant and important to we, the children of Africa, especially we, the youth, because all the privileges other people are getting, we as children of Africa are not getting it. And why? The president has said it all. He has summarized it in a very short clip. So please, let us go and watch it, come back and analyze it. We're not going to take long.
Parts of Africa, we have got languages which belong to no tribe, to no ethnicity, like Swahili. Swahili is a non-ethnic language. It was developed by the Africans when they met at the coast of East Africa. It belongs to no tribe. It is a neutral language, which all these people can use. If I am Kikuyu or Sukuma or Munyankwere or Baganda, I don't have to insist on my language being the language of the Union. We can use Swahili, which is a neutral language, to unite us, which the Europeans don't have. So therefore, we have got that easy infrastructure. In West Africa, they can also either look at Swahili or at the languages on that side. I don't know which one would be neutral. But for us here in East Africa, we are East Africa and Congo and some parts of Southern Africa. We are lucky. We have this neutral language which belongs to nobody, which can unite us. Now, finally, and point number 5 is a question. What is the present generation of Africans trying to achieve? Are we trying to build a Latin America in Africa, or a United States of Africa in Africa? That's the question that the leaders must answer, or the leadership. About 300 years ago, 1776, the American colonies broke away from Britain, 13 of them, after the rebellion of George Washington. When they broke away, the 13 colonies of America decided to unite to form a core of the United States of America. Today, they have built the most powerful country in the history of man. United States today is the most powerful country, economically, militarily, and so on. Near them, you had Spanish colonies in South America. They also broke away from Spain. But instead of uniting, they remained scattered. Now, after so many years, more than 200 years, we can see the results. In the United States, there is strength, there is prosperity, there is stability. In South America, poverty, instability, misery. That's how you see South Americans walking on foot, running away from misery, running from suffering in South America to the United States. And we have seen the United States leaders fighting to keep them away. Some of them are even talking of building a wall to keep away those desperate people. But South America, in terms of natural resources, is very rich. It's actually richer than North America. If you look at the resources, the Amazon River, the forests, the agricultural land, the minerals like tin and so on, the petroleum, very rich in terms of natural resources, but politically disorganized. So if you don't solve the issue of political and economic organization, whatever natural resources you have, you cannot make progress. So the question I'm asking African leaders, what are we trying to build? Are we trying to build a Latin America in Africa or a United States of Africa in Africa? Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Yes, sir. So yes, as you can see, the president is talking about we as children of Africa, how we are blessed to have Swahili that does not belong to any tribe. So now the president is indirectly telling us as children of Africa that we don't have we have no excuse to say that maybe we don't have one particular language that we can use as official language for Africa. Because if you don't want to use my language as Igbo or as Zulu, as Kokeo or as Dagomba or as Akan, if you think that you don't want to use my language, then our ancestors foresee this and they invented a language for us to use as a medium of or as our official language as children of Africa, and that is the language of Swahili. So if when it comes to language, we are the only people who got that language. That does not belong to nobody. Nobody else has it. As the president said, the European doesn't have that. But yet they managed to have European Union that is working for the interests of Europeans. The Chinese doesn't have that. But yet they are able to unite 1.4 billion people for the interests of China. The Indians doesn't have that. The Indians have a lot of different millions, thousands of different languages. But they come out with one particular language that they are using as an official language for the good of the Indians. We, the children of Africa, the most powerful people on earth, we are not being able to come out with an official language, and yet we are the only people who have a language that does not belong to nobody. So the president of Uganda is telling you that we have Swahili, and then we as children of Africa must adopt it as our official language. And he didn't always talk about the language of Swahili. He also made a very good point, saying that do we want to build a United States of Africa in Africa, or we want to build North America in Africa? Because as he put it, 50 states in America, the founding fathers of America come to realize that uniting those 50 states will give them the most powerful country ever existed in human history. And yes, They fought a civil war to bring those 50 states together. And today, America is the most powerful country on earth, economically, militarily, everything. America is the most powerful country in the world. And yet, they don't have the resources that we got in Africa. So imagine 54 states in Africa, if we can also put aside whatever differences we claim to have and unite this continent of Africa. You listening to me, you will travel all over the world with dignity and respect, just as the Americans are. You will travel all over the world without restrictions, just like the Americans. So why are we denying ourselves as children of Africa that opportunity? Why are we denying ourselves? So to the youth of Africa, let us put aside whatever differences we have been indoctrinated to think we have. We don't have no differences. We are one people. And we all speak one language. And that language is the language of disrespect all over the world. Everywhere you go on this planet Earth as an African, you've been disrespected. Wherever you go, they don't care about your tribe, where you come from, or your religion. As long as you are African, you are at the bottom of the human race. What can we do to uplift ourselves? That is what the president has said here. The president of Uganda. So this goes to the youth of Africa. Let us stand up, as we keep saying it here, and support African leaders who want to see a united Africa. Let us support them. Because anytime an African leader come out with the mission to unite Africa, we know the colonialists who doesn't want to see a united Africa will come after them. And most of the time, they use we, the citizens of Africa, to go after them, just as they are doing in Burkina Faso as we speak today. As we speak now, Burkina Faso has had 5 different coup attempts. Why? They are using our own people to get rid of the regime that is fighting for the people of Burkina. And that is, the colonialists have never changed their tactics. It is always the same, using your own against you. Today, if we, and at the end of the day, they will dehumanize you. They will put you under the bottom of the human race as children of Africa. If we want to bring an end to this, so that the children of Africa will not be perishing in the Mediterranean Sea, will not be perishing in the desert, then we have to stand up and support African leaders who want to see a united Africa, because it is only unity that can give us our dignity as children of Africa. So the president have said it all. There's nothing much we can say here. All that we are saying is that join as a young African. If you want to be traveling around the world, just as the Chinese are doing today, just as the Europeans are doing today, just as the Americans are doing today, you must also work for that. They didn't just get it on a silver platter. They had to work for that. As I said, the Americans had to fight a civil war to bring 50 states together, because they envision what unity, the strength that unity will give them. That was the reason why they did that. And today, the evidence are there. And North America, as the president is saying, North America, French colonies, they refuse to unite, and they are suffering just as we as Africans are doing. So if we want to bring an end to our suffering as children of Africa, then we must do everything we can to unite the continent of Africa. And any leader in Africa who is not talking about unity is a leader that we should be careful with. Any leader in Africa today who is not talking about unity, we should be doubtful of his sincerity, because no leader in Africa can ever survive the colonial boundaries, what the colonialists have done to Africa. No country can survive what they did to us by itself. The only way we can all succeed as Africans is to unite the continent of Africa. That is where we can get our dignity as children of Africa. So I thank you very much for coming around. President Museveni, we thank you very much for coming out with this, because this is what we have been talking about. And then we thank God that people like you are listening to us. Let us unite Africa for the collective good of all of us. We cannot afford to leave the same Africa for the next generation of Africans. I keep saying it. We cannot blame our ancestors for the Africa that we inherited from them. but we will blame ourselves if we handle the same Africa to the next generation of Africans. Because me and you today, we are not proud of the Africa that we inherited from our ancestors. Let not blame them, but let us change the situation, the condition of Africa for the next generation of Africans. I thank you very much for coming around. This is your brother Dobia Anzanse. As I said, if you appreciate what we are doing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Support us. We just came back from our first mission in Africa. We are determined to go back to enlighten our people to see the need for unity. We want your support. How do you support us? It's by sharing what we are doing. That is the only support we need from you. It's by sharing what we are doing. It's by subscribing to our YouTube channel if you haven't done it yet, and also following us on Facebook. Let us all together work for a better Africa, not just for us, but for the next generation of Africans, so that our children will not be dying in the Mediterranean Sea. Our children will not be being disrespected all over the world. If we want to have a dignified life for the next generation of Africans, let us unite Africa. I thank you very much for coming around.